Financing and ways of funding a project have always played a major part in how a final film, TV series, or basically any media project looks like, production value and structure-wise. Firstly, financing directly influences the way the film or series feels and looks like, due to being directly connected to the production value. I mean, everybody knows that, you know it too. Actors, designers, costumes, locations, studios, cameras, and so on can be employed, purchased, or borrowed if there's more money there, or any money there. However, secondly, even the TV format itself, its inherent structure, has long since been influenced by the way of funding the program. If we look at TV series, for example, we can see the act breaks, the halts, the stops, between two acts of each episode, nearly always matching the commercial breaks. If you watch TV series like The Mentalist or Buffy the Vampire Slayer or Prison Break on DVD, that means an act ends when the screen turns black and the dramatic tension in the plot is at its high. A rather sure sign that on TV this short black space would have been filled by a commercial break. Really look at these DVDs. The more commercial breaks an episode is interrupted by, the more acts, and with it pre-break cliffhangers or moments of heightened tension you'll find. The cliffhangers before the break are written with the intention of keeping the audience in front of their TVs, eagerly waiting for the next piece of information when the show returns after the break. This very well shows how commercial interests have co-shaped the TV series structures and narratives that we know today. As we learned in the last chapter, 1 hour TV series in US cable TV usually last about 45 minutes without commercial breaks. As commercial breaks rarely exist in pay TV programs like HBO, we can find time-adjusted shows in these channels that tend to last rather 55 to 58 minutes, up to 15 minutes longer than the usual cable TV 1 hour show. Shows like HBO's Game of Thrones and Showtime's serial killer saga Dexter make use of this additional time by allowing more information and many times more major characters, look at Game of Thrones, to rule the scenery of the show. Although Hulu.com and other online video platforms operate with later-induced short commercial breaks, many web formats today make use of a completely different commercial model: product placement and branded entertainment. Product placement is a way of financing a film or series by visually including commercial products in the work, in exchange for payments by the brands. Although many movies feature product placement, German TV, for example, has strict rules limiting or banning it. Branded entertainment, as another marketing strategy, goes even further by including commercial brands directly into the story world. If we look at IKEA's web series Easy to Assemble, for example, the show not only features the brand logo or only one product, but the whole series takes place in an IKEA market, with all the protagonists being IKEA sales assistants.
There's an emerging trend amongst brands to sort of get involved with TV series, classic TV series, by sponsoring web spin-offs, which is a crass, cheaper way of doing product placement, to be honest, because you can focus a lot more on the product, you're a lot freer, and you don't have to pay the huge, humongous amounts you would have to pay if you do classic product placement. Especially, you pay when you do product placement, you are paid by the seconds that your product is on air, and that's that. If you compare it to what you see on Teen Wolf, the Teen Wolf spin-offs or the Psych spin-offs, or I think Covert Affairs also had one where the product is on nearly all the time, or at least you have like a big brand frame where it's all about that. You still have a possibility to sort of pay for something, even if you don't want to spend that much money, and still be a really prominent part of content. So it's become increasingly popular over the last few years, and it's has, of course, makes that TV spin-offs lose maybe a bit of their charm. However, they make them payable, which is really interesting and something that you strive for, because that's what you want. You want to be able to tell more stories. You want to tell other stories that you couldn't tell on TV, because you have limitations there, and you don't really usually have those exact same limitations if you do it online, because you can be a bit more edgy when you write stories.
Rebecca talks about web spin-offs of TV series that work as branded entertainment. A spin-off is a narrative media format that is based on another, already existing format. The spin-off most often revolves around one aspect of the original work, for example, a character, location, event, or theme. To give some examples, famously, one of the protagonists of TV series Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the vampire Angel, entered his own TV series of the same name, Angel, which became a successful supernatural detective procedural. Or, as was announced earlier in 2013, J.K. Rowling's book and film series Harry Potter will be followed by a spin-off called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, which focuses on Newt Scamander's life, the fictional author of one of Harry Potter's school books. The US serial drama Teen Wolf from 2011 and running on MTV offers such a spin-off with Search for a Cure, a web original series that can also be defined as branded entertainment. The web series focuses on the TV series' protagonist's sidekick. It also includes the protagonist, but